Hello everyone, welcome back. I got a new holster here from Craft Holsters. It's a leather paddle holster. I've been using it for about 2 weeks now. I want to tell you guys a little bit about this holster, why I picked it, the benefits that it's giving me. I specifically picked this holster because I was training an older gentleman. I think he's older than 70 years old. And I needed to use a certain gun, and I needed to use a certain holster in order to get him where I needed him to go. So because he's 70 plus years old, he's not extremely nimble, not extremely agile. So I wanted, first of all, I needed to use, and it's also a lefty, right? So if you notice the holster's on my left side here, right? Holster's on the left side. So because I'm dealing with an older gentleman, I wanted to use a single action, double action gun. I just working with him, I didn't quite feel comfortable with having him use a striker fired gun, and I didn't quite. We tried using a Kydex holster. It wasn't working that great. Two reasons. Number one, with the Kydex holster, there's usually like a pretty stiff retention around the trigger guard here. And what was happening is when he was going into the holster, like he was having a little bit of a hard time pulling it up. If I loosened it up, then it kind of became too loose. Well, with the leather, it's a little bit more smooth. It goes in the leather, you get that retention, but it doesn't have like that click effect, which was just not working so well for this person. Okay, so I wanted to use a double action, single action gun because his trigger discipline, it was still working on it. Let's put it that way. Okay, he has a tendency to get his finger on the trigger before it's supposed to be there, and that's fine. He knows the problem. I know it's a problem. It's something that we're working on. But I wanted to use a gun, where there was a margin for error. Okay, if when he gets his finger on the trigger, I have enough time to tell him to get it off it. I don't want the trigger being too light. So the Beretta 92 was a good choice. He's a lefty, so the Beretta 92 again was also a good choice because he's able to decock this right with his left hand. Okay, and the other benefit of this holster, because it's a leather holster, if you notice this little flap over here, well, he was having a real problem finding the holster. Okay, forget about trying to reholster without looking. I mean, I got to get this guy. I told him make sure you look every single time. So he's here, he's trying to get into the holster, and what's happening is sometimes he's like just having a hard time finding it. So he can use that flap over there to just kind of guide the holster in. So you see how it kind of hits, so he's doing a lot of this stuff over here like that. But as soon as he hits that flap, it kind of brings the holster, brings the gun, into the holster. Okay, so we're using this little flap here as a funnel to funnel the gun in a way that you can't do with a Kydex gun. Okay, when we tried doing this, dry, with a Kydex gun, I mean, he was having a much more hard time getting the gun into the holster. With the leather, he's having a much easier time. Yeah, a lot of times he'll just slip. He'll be out here like that, but eventually we'll get it in there. Okay, so let me take this gun off, all right, and we'll take a closer look at this holster. So first, interesting point here. If you're a lefty, normally if you're right-handed, you run the belt in around this side. All right, so if you're a lefty, you run the belt in from this side so that this flap is on your left side. The reason for that is if you have a hard time getting this off, which right now I'm not, but I might, because you can lose. You can basically just pull back your belt a little bit and you'll be able to get it off. Okay, so that's a reason why you run your belt in from this side and out this side if you're a lefty, so you can access the holster a lot easier and get it off a lot easier if you need to. Get my belt back on. So let's take a closer look at this holster. So it is a paddle holster. You can see it's got these little nuts here, which is something I've not seen on the paddle holster before. They really stick out. It gives it really good retention, like in terms of it, like this is not going to come off your belt. Right? Those nuts stick out. They hold this thing really in place. It's got like these little teeth over here that dig into your pants. And also these nuts here are adjustable. If you notice these little holes over here, you can take these nuts out and move it down to any one of these holes over here. So you can bring it all the way to the last one over here, in which case you could fit this holster on a 6-inch wide belt. Okay. The other thing with this is it's cantable, right? So you loosen up that nut over there, and then you're basically able to rotate this like that. So that's another benefit of this. The leather holster itself, it has a little tension nut over here, which is something I typically don't see on leather holsters. Leather holsters usually don't have the tension screw over here. I have had to tighten this up like 3 times already, all right? Because leather, as it's breaking in, you know, sometimes it'll loosen up, it'll, you know, but by tightening this up, I'm able to keep the tension exactly where I want it. So this is something I have not seen on a leather holster before. Yeah, for my purposes, right, of training an older gentleman that needs to use a double action, single action gun, and kind of, you know, we like I said, we don't want that hard clicking retention around the trigger guard that we normally get from the Kydex holsters. It just wasn't working for this guy. It was, you know, it was spooking him out basically. I mean, but you know, this is going in there good. It's giving us the retention that we want. All right, let's put this on and fire a couple of shots with this. So let's see if I can get this on now without loosening the belt. There we go. A couple of times I was having a little bit of difficulty with that. Managed to get that on. There you go. That's working fine. Okay. So I'm going to use this opportunity to tell you guys how you're supposed to, you know, hold. I'm going to come on this way so you guys can see how you're supposed to hold a, you know, this type of a gun, right? Because this has that safety like this. Well, because, see, in this position here, when the safety is down, you got a dead trigger. So with the Beretta 92, your thumbs, that thumb is supposed to be riding up. Like, and I did a previous video on this with the 1911. Okay, your thumbs ride on top of your safety to make sure that safety is being pushed down. With the Beretta 92, it's the opposite. Okay, you always want to make sure that your safety is off. So for that reason, you're gonna ride your thumbs up like this, because now if that safety is down, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna know that you need to push that up. All right, so that's how you shoot the Beretta 92, with your thumbs up, so that your thumb is sitting right here around this side. So you're gonna ride it up like this. Thumb sits right there. So if your safety is down, you're gonna feel that right there. So even in the dark, you know your safety is on, right? And then you just click it off. Now, with the Beretta 92, because remember I'm dealing with a lefty here. As far as getting, let's lock this open for a second. So it's got a nice paddle lever over here, which is really good because you're able to activate this as a lefty. All right. Now, one of the things that will happen is as you're doing this, a lot of times, you see how I just flip the safety down? All right. So that's one of the things to be aware of is as you're locking the gun open, it's very easy for your hands to come up here and knock the safety down, which is the reason why your thumbs always come up when you're shooting. This way you make sure your safety is off. I'll do it with the other hand so you guys can see it. Okay, so as I'm doing this, let's say my thumb knocks the safety off like this, right? Okay, as you come up, you push up with your hands here. This way you know your safety is up. So even in the dark, you can feel that your safety is off like that. Okay, so that's how I train people to shoot the Beretta 92 with their thumbs up so they can feel that safety. Let's get my ears on. All right, so we're going lefty. So the loading procedure is we lock the gun open. Right, so you see how I push that up with my hand here. The reason why I'm locking the gun open is because it's easier to load the magazine, especially with the older person I'm dealing with. You know, because I don't want them sitting there trying to jam the magazine into the gun. This way it goes in. There's no question that it's in. All right. And what I usually do is, usually with the Glocks, I tell people to run their slides. With the Beretta 92s, just because there's such a high chance that they're accidentally going to flip the safety down, right, or actually turn the safety on. What I do is I teach everybody to just hit the slide release, which is a very big leather here. So even with gloves on, you know, it's very easy to close it. Even in the dark, you can feel it. So let's decock this. So as a lefty, I'm going to decock this. Let's get this back in the holster. All right. And from there, we'll just hand on your chest, pull, rotate, join, extend, find the sights, get them on the target. And basically decock the gun. Get this back in the holster. Basically, gotta get my clothes out of the way. Get in the holster. Come up. Okay, ride the thumb up. Make sure that safety is off. Decock the gun. Now, with a lot of people, just because the Beretta 92 is so wide, especially with women, sometimes I'll have them just use this thumb over here. I'll just have them come back here and use that thumb to put the safety on. But with the Beretta 92, you got to make sure that your safety is on before you reholster the gun. Okay, the gun is not drop safe like a Glock. Okay, this gun depends on the hammer being down. Okay, if the hammer's back and you drop the gun, it can go off because it's not designed to be carried that way. It's designed to be carried with the hammer down. So yeah, this is working pretty good, especially for training. Like I said, in this situation, I'm training an older gentleman. I needed to use a double action, single action gun. He's a lefty. I needed a holster that he could easily get in and out of. But at the same time, I wanted the gun. I wanted retention, right? I wanted the gun to actually stay in the holster and the leather. It's tight. It's also adjustable. So if I needed to get it tighter, I can just twist it. And it's got this real cool feature where this flap over here acts as a funnel. So he's able to kind of use that flap to funnel the gun into the holster, right? Now, with this gentleman, I tell him, make sure you're looking at the holster. I'm not at the point where I'm trying to get him to reholster without looking. I definitely want him looking at the holster when he's trying to reholster. So, and we're using that little flap that sticks out there to guide the muzzle into the holster. Now, at some point, this is going to weaken up and it's probably going to start kind of hanging over the side. In which case, it's just leather. You can just trim it a little bit. Just something I've seen with holsters. It's bound to happen, right? If it's a leather holster and you got a flap like this over here, eventually this is going to weaken to the point where it's just kind of hanging down like a beagle's ears, right? Like a beagle dog. You see how the ears hang down? This is eventually what's going to happen with this. And yeah, you just take the scissors and you just nicely trim it. At that point, hopefully you've practiced enough that you don't need that flap to guide, to help you guide the muzzle into the holster. So I'm really happy with this holster. It's working especially well for the situation that I wanted to use it with, where I had an older gentleman. I needed to use a Beretta 92, and it had to be a single action, double action. It had to be because the lefty, so I didn't want to use like a SIG or something, because a SIG, you don't have the safety. The SIG, like my SIG is a single action, double action, but the safety is like down here, so you gotta activate it with your thumb down here. So I needed to use, I needed the safety on the side that he can activate with his left hand. So the Beretta 92 is working great for that. And I needed a holster that he could easily reholster, and the leather's just working perfect. Let's take another shot with this. Incidentally, when I took my first self-defense class, talking many years back, the gun that I used was this gun right here, this Beretta 92. And the reason is because, I was, at that point, I was new to tactical training and self-defense training. And, many years back, a lot of people were thinking, and even myself, I was not confident yet in how safely a striker-fired gun could be carried with a round in the chamber, okay? I did not know at the time that the Kydex holster was the safety mechanism for a striker-fired gun. So yeah, I mean, basically, you're not going to know this until you go to a class and learn it, okay? So when I went and I took this class, going into the class, I didn't feel, even though I had a Glock, I didn't feel comfortable taking my first class with the Glock. So I took along this Beretta 92 because I knew that I could decock this, right? Carry this gun with the hammer down, and I knew that there was no possibility that I could shoot myself in the foot. So that's something to to realize. I mean, a lot of you guys watching this video, you're coming at it from the perspective that you already know that Glocks are safe to carry with a round in the chamber. and that the holster is the safety mechanism. But you also got to look at it from the perspective of the millions and millions of new people that are coming into the gun community, that are buying guns for the first time, that are getting their carry permits maybe for the first time. They don't know these things yet. I mean, they're going to learn them, right? But they don't know it yet. So initially, their first gun might be a single action, double action gun, like this Beretta 92 that they're carrying with the hammer down, because they're at that point that, they're just starting out and they don't know that for a striker-fired gun, the Kydex is the safety mechanism. So for the the millions of new people that are coming into the gun community, taking their first self-defense classes, we're going to see a lot of these Beretta 92s. We're going to see a lot of the SIGs with the decockers, this would be an ideal holster for those type of guns, because it's really easy to come in and out of the holster, and like I said, the leather kind of folds it in. So I think that this would be a really good choice for those new people, because a lot of times in this channel and a lot of the other gun channels, we're talking to people that already know guns, and we're saying, okay, yeah, you're the expert, this is the expert gun for you. But we really got to also look at it, and consider the new people that are coming in and what their needs are, what their perceptions are, what they don't know yet, and how they're gonna come into this community. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to put a link below in the description for this holster here from Craft Holsters, so you guys can check it out if you're interested. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video and hope you learned a couple of interesting things. And one of the, one of the interesting things that I find that a lot of people don't know, even Beretta shooters, even people that carry Berettas, right, and have been carrying them for many years, when I watch them shoot, they don't know that you're supposed to shoot this with your thumbs up, so that your thumb is pressing up against the safety, because that's the only way that you're going to be absolutely sure that that safety is off, if your thumb is riding up like that, okay? So that's how you're supposed to shoot the Beretta 92. So by all means, please drop some comments below in the comment section. If you're not a member, please subscribe. I'll talk to you guys soon.